Good morning, this is Kasturi De. Today again I'm going to discuss the question answer series of the circulatory system in humans according to ICSE syllabus class 8. Okay. So in my last video I stopped with some question answers. I was discussing of the answer the following in detail. So the third question today I will start with. Okay, so what prevents the mixing of blood between auricles and ventricles and how? Okay, so blood flows from the auricles to the ventricles, we know that. Okay, it does not flow from one auricle to another or from one ventricle to another ventricle. Okay, so this is stopped, this mixing, that is this intra-auricular transport of blood or intraventricular transport of blood is prevented by the thick muscular wall which is present in between them. It is present in between the auricles as also in between the ventricles, that is known as septum. Okay, and the septum separates the heart from the left and the right sides. Okay, so the auricles are separated from each other by interauricular septum and the ventricles are separated from each other by interventricular septum. And even the auricles are separated from the ventricles by the auricular ventricular septum. Only thing is that the blood is flowing from auricles to the ventricles by the valves through the valves. Okay, so there are valves which are present between the auricles and ventricles. Okay, or ventricles and arteries also. These valves are present between ventricles and arteries also, which are allowing the blood to flow in one directions. Okay, and not the backflow of the blood. So there is no mixing of the pure and impure blood, or you can say oxygenated and deoxygenated blood within the heart or outside the heart also. When the blood is flowing through in the veins, it is not flowing backwards due to the presence of these valves. Okay, then explain the process of blood circulation in the body with the help of schematic diagram. Now the deoxygenated blood is collected from the different parts of the body by the superior and inferior vena cava and brought into the right atrium. Superior vena cava brings the blood from the upper parts of the body and inferior vena cava from the lower parts of the body, and both are draining into the right atrium. Then the right atrium is contracting and the blood is flowing through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. Okay. Then the right ventricle contracts and the deoxygenated blood is pushed into from the right ventricle to the pulmonary arteries. Okay, right and the left pulmonary arteries through the pulmonary semilunar valve. And then there the blood flows from the via the pulmonary arteries into the lungs, where this deoxygenated blood exchanges its gases and gives out carbon dioxide and takes in oxygen and makes it blood, and then pour into the this oxygenated blood is poured into the left atrium, okay, by the pulmonary veins. Now this oxygenated blood from the left atrium is pushed into the left ventricle via the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve. Then then the ventricles contract and the blood is pushed into the aorta through the aortic semilunar valve. Okay, and the blood goes out of the heart to the other parts of the body via the different arteries. Okay, so this is represented by the systemic see here in this case. We see that in this total circulation system, there is double circulation. Twice the blood is flowing through the heart. Okay, the blood is flowing twice through the heart. One is through the pulmonary arteries, is going to the lungs, and by after oxygenation it comes back to the heart, okay, via the pulmonary veins. So this is pulmonary circulation. And when the blood is flowing from the aorta, that is through the when the ventricles is contracting, left ventricle is contracting, and the blood is flowing through the aorta, getting out of the heart, and it is distributed throughout the body. Again it is getting deoxygenated and comes back to the heart by the vena cava, and pouring into the right atrium. So this is systematic circulation, and both the circulation are taking place in a rhythmic manner. Due to this, due to the both circulation which is taking place in the heart, this human circulatory system is known as double circulation. So see, this is the schematic diagram which has been represented here. So this is the in the middle, this is the heart which is represented. See, the right auricle and the right ventricle is there, and the left auricle and left ventricle is there. See, first this is the vena cava which is pouring the blood into the right atrium, and from the right then it is passing the blood through the bicuspid valve into the right ventricle, tricuspid valve, sorry, this is the tricuspid valve which is allowing the blood from the, when the right auricle is contracting, it is pushing the blood into the right ventricle, and then when the right ventricle is contracting, it is pushing the blood through the pulmonary artery, it is moving to the lungs. See, this is the lungs. So it is moving to the lungs where it is being oxygenated, the deoxygenated blood. This is a blue color line you can see. So this is a deoxygenated blood. Again it is becoming oxygenated and it is becoming red colored, and so it is via the pulmonary veins, it is returning to the left auricle, entering the heart again. Then left auricle, when it is contracting, it is pushing the blood through the bicuspid or mitral valve into the left ventricle. Then the left ventricle, when it is contracting, when it is filled up with the blood, it is contracting and moving the blood, pushing the blood through the aortic semilunar valve into the aorta, and it is moving to the different body organs. And again it is being deoxygenated and it is returning to the heart by the vena cava. So this is systematic circulation and this is pulmonary circulation. Okay, this is the schematic diagram showing these two circulations. Next we come to the next question, that is, why is a person with blood group O called universal donor and a person with blood group AB is called a universal recipient? Blood group O is known as universal donor as the blood group O does not contain any antigen. Okay, it does not contain any antigen on the surface of the RBCs. It lacks both A antigen as well as B antigen. Therefore, the individuals with blood group O can transfuse the blood to people of all the blood groups. Okay, that as no antibodies will get formed in the recipient person's body. Okay, so the blood can be transfused to any of the blood group people. It may be A, B or AB, or it can be O itself. Then this person with blood group AB is considered as the person with blood group AB is considered as a universal recipient because the blood group of this person has no antibodies. Even if there is both the antigens, that is A antigen and B antigen is present on the RBC. Now both the antigens are considered as self for these people. Therefore, they can take blood from any person of any group like A, B, AB or O. They can take from any one of them. That's why that person, that group is known as universal recipient, which would not cause any allergic response in the body, as they do not have any contain any antibodies, those blood groups. Okay, so that's why because this A blood group do not have any antibodies, that's why they can receive blood from any person, any group person. Okay, now we come to what is lymph and how is it different from blood. Now, when blood reaches the capillaries, some of the water, we know that blood contains water also. So, when the blood reaches the capillaries are thin arteries and veins, so thin vessels of the blood. So, when this blood enters the capillaries, some of the water and dissolved salts are filtered out from the plasma into the tissue spaces to form a tissue fluid that contains infection fighting white blood cells known as lymphocytes. This tissue fluid is known as lymph. So what happens when the blood reaches the capillaries? When they leave, as we know that the capillaries have a thin wall, very thin wall, where diffusion can take place, osmosis and diffusion can take place. So through these walls, water and some dissolved salts, they are filtered out from the plasma into the tissue spaces, and in these tissue spaces there are present what? Lymphocytes. What are lymphocytes? These are infection fighting white blood cells. Okay, so these the tissue fluid, the fluid which has come out through in the tissue spaces, which is containing this infection fighting white blood cells or lymphocytes, this tissue fluid is known as lymph. Now, what is the difference between lymph and blood? Blood and lymph. Blood is red in color, lymph is colorless. Blood is circulating through arteries, veins and the heart, whereas lymph circulates through lymph capillaries, lymph nodes and lymph vessels. Then blood, the main transporting fluid of the body, whereas lymph is a parallel transporting fluid which connects tissue fluid to the circulatory system. Blood does not blood contains RBCs, but lymph does not contain RBC. Therefore, that is why blood is red in color, and these do not have RBC. That's why they are colorless. Lymph is colorless. Then blood consists of high protein concentration, whereas lymph has low protein concentration. Blood contains more nutrients and waste, whereas lymph contains fewer nutrients and waste. But blood belongs to circulatory system, whereas lymph belongs to lymphatic system. Blood regulates body temperature and maintains the pH, whereas lymph transports fat and fat soluble vitamins and stores lymphocytes. Then blood clots rapidly due to the presence of fibrinogen, adequate amount of fibrinogen in the blood, present in the blood. But the lymph clots slowly due to the presence of less fibrinogen. Okay. So this is the I stop here. Some more questions and answers are left. I'll discuss in my next video. Please go through this. If you have any doubt, please do let me know and write in the comment box. You can also give suggestions to improve my videos so that I can produce more videos which can help you in your studies much more better. And please press the like button so that it can produce me some enthusiasm to produce some more interesting videos for you. And if you are a new viewer to my channel and not subscribed yet, please do subscribe so that you can get the notification of my next video. Thank you.